There's a strange phenomenon going on in the world of humans that goes on all day long into the night. And affects almost everybody, and yet which we rarely talk about. There's a constant companion, a constant conversation, a constant dialogue, a constant whispering going on for most people every moment of their waking lives and even into some of their dreams. Conversation which is like a commentary on what's happening for you, what you're experiencing, how you're experiencing it, and what kind of person you are, and what kind of people other people are. It's the voice of judgment, of weighing things up, of deciding what's good or bad. In some people, it's just a mild voice. They hardly notice it. It's just to the side. It comes up every now and then as a, oh, well, you didn't do that very good, did you? But they generally can cope with it. For other people, it can be as bad as being like a kind of inner self-torture, where a voice is just constantly coming up to undermine everything they do, and sometimes in a very cruel way. It's just a voice, it's just a whisper, it's just a bunch of ideas based on things that are often not even true. And yet it can really define people. It can make decisions for them, make them avoid places, avoid socializing, avoid opportunities. It's convincing. It's convincing only because it's familiar. It's been there a long time. It's said the same thing a few times over. But its root is not really the truth. Its root often goes back to childhood, often back to very early childhood, where the child has this strange tendency to blame itself in a stressful or emotional situation. It blames itself as the cause for the bad things that happen around it. Daddy left mummy because I'm bad. They yelled at me that I couldn't have that thing because I don't deserve anything. This is the kind of illogical way that kids make sense of the world. They hunger to make sense of the world. It's their whole purpose is to make sense of the world. And the most scary, most difficult, most challenging thing for them is to decide that mummy and daddy are not safe. So they'd much rather blame themselves than blame their caregivers. And this is how these whisperings often begin to start. It starts with this irrational need to make oneself safe by dumping on the self. And it gets compounded by similar situations of abuse or denial or whatever that then show up with teachers or school friends or relationships growing up. And they have this familiar tone, this familiar root, so they feel like they're true. But they're simply based on the fragile childhood mind trying to make itself safe. There's a research study in psychology called attachment theory, where they actually study how people attach. And a lot of those studies are based on the way children, babies, relate to attachment, where a caregiver is removed for a short time and how the child responds when they come back. They discovered in the early days of these studies that 1 in 3 people has an uncertain attachment style where they're not quite sure in relating. But recent studies have shown this has now increased to around 50% of people are growing up with an unsure style in relating to others, an unsureness about what to expect from others, a kind of uncomfortableness about entering relating, rather than a vulnerable, open, secure way of relating. So those voices in your head are what come up when we go out to relate, because relating happens all day long. You can't avoid it. Even if you work from home, you can't avoid going out to get food or saying hello to people on the street or talking to people on the internet even. We're always relating. Relating is just a reflection of those voices in our head. So what do we do about it? Well, a lot of theory says to heal this, you need to hear what those voices are saying, write down those negative words, and then reframe them. Say the opposite, say something positive. But most of us know that that doesn't really work, that you can't fight the mind with the mind. You have to work from another part of yourself to be able to overcome those mental hooks which are so deep and so recurring and such habits within. So one of the tools I use in my somatic sound transformational work is firstly to shift the position of your eyes. So imagine that you're looking up to the center point of your head, the very top middle point of your head, and then shift your gaze just a couple of inches above that. To imagine you're looking at a point just above your head. This is what esoteric people call the star point. But Hindu Vedic teachers also had a technique for rolling the eyes upwards into the head, the actual gaze of the eyes. And various new neurological systems are proving that this moving the gaze of the eye can actually trigger different parts of the brain, different ways of seeing things, shift you from the very emotional and difficult to control limbic brain to the more rational and logical prefrontal brain. But taking it into metaphysical terms, this point above the head also gives you a feeling of connection to guidance, connection to something bigger than yourself. It gives you a symbolic image of just stepping outside yourself a little bit, just stepping outside the situation, the voices within. And then what I do is put your hand on your middle of your chest and start humming into your hand, keeping your eye gaze up to the top part of your head. You want to hum through your system as you look up with your eyes, and then add to the hum the artistry of the mood you want to generate. So maybe it's the mood of calm, or maybe it's the mood of self-support. Or maybe it's the mood of self-kindness, or maybe it's the mood of relief, Or maybe it's the mood of joy. Or maybe it's the mood of everything's okay. That's a very powerful one. You generate this mood into sound because sound work does nothing if it's not musical, if it's not a song of life, a song of yourself. Singing is sound plus emotion. Sound work on its own is just dead. You must feel and apply the mood you want to generate. Even if that's something very simple like soothing. Just noticing those whisperings, those voicings, that talking from within, that put down from within, and you're not trying to change it. You're just shifting your gaze above your head as you generate within a mood, an atmosphere of trust, a mood of self-support. The sounding with the emotion creates a mood, a feeling within. It's the mood, the feeling that breaks us. It's not really the words, it's the mood and the feeling it generates. Because that mood, that feeling can trigger all kinds of reactions inside you. Physical tension, release of stress hormones. We too often try to heal the mind with the mind, when really we should first go to the body and then to the mood within, the atmosphere within, and shift that. And it will automatically, naturally, easily, effortlessly start to tone down those words so that they no longer anchor into your system through the emotions of pain. You notice the words, you notice they're there, but they're no longer anchoring into pain. And this is when you start to feel detachment, where you can see it happening, but it has no power over you. And you generate another mood, and that relaxes you through the hum, which slows the mind down, and the shifting of your eyes upward, which shifts the way your brain is functioning and shifts the style your consciousness is shifting in. And then we can rewire and start to talk, speak, write in what we would prefer those voices to be whispering, what we would prefer to feel. Thank you so much for supporting this work. If you like, comment and sharing, I rely on that feedback to keep going. and wishing you a wonderful day.